Hey guys, I'm Chris Diaz, and you're watching The Creative Papi by Creative Papis.
I like that one. I like that one. Welcome to the Creative Papi podcast, a podcast hosted by me, Sway Molina, featuring creative fathers talking about manhood, parenting, staying sane, and healthy. Topics will vary from creativity, mental health, physical health, dad and man advice. Talking to cool dudes with cool careers. And breaking news, I just recorded my first episode. This is it. Not a complete disaster. It was very experimental and a great learning experience, considering that I'm doing this by myself. I recorded the video, edited the video, recorded the podcast, invested in the equipment, and here we are still figuring it all out. Apologies for the reverb, echoey sounds, and fidgeting and constant moving. I was a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie, but we had a good time. The sound was surprisingly good, taking into account that this was my first time using the Zoom recorder. I lost the old one and I had to buy a new one, and the new one was completely alien to me, but we got it done. It will get better over time. So what has changed from the initial vision, my initial vision? Well, I doubt the podcast will be bite-sized, under 30 minutes as I thought, which gives me kind of an advantage and more work. I'll be able to share small pieces of content from the long form interview to social media. So this could work for me, or it could be a complete disaster. And on this episode, we have actor, voiceover artist, and producer Christopher Diaz. Catch him on his latest true crime show, ATL Homicide. And here we're talking about the craft of acting, what makes us connect as friends, fatherhood, and so much more. It's my first podcast, everyone, so please be kind. All right, let's get it done. Here we go.
No, but this is good. Wait. Let's get back to what you like about me.
Oh, you like that, don't you?
So, I wasn't opposed to it.
Okay, so what I like about you is that, well, it's not really what I like about you, and it's really what I've learned about you, which is a lot more powerful. I've learned a lot about you. Let me talk about me. I like observing people, right?
It's an actor's trade.
Yeah, which we're gonna get into that too. I like observing people, and I try not to look at their flaws. I try to see what makes them them. And
flaws in everything.
Yeah, there's flaws in everything. We're human.
Make you part of the human that you are.
Exactly, and it's exact. Yeah. It does, and a lot of people try to run away from flaws.
No.
You gotta accept.
You got to go forward with it.
You're right.
Yeah,
right.
Embrace is the word.
Exactly, embrace it. I try to work with what I got and learn from other people, which brings me to the point I'm trying to make. I see you're a guy that brings energy to the room. You have charisma. You have a unique personality. You're the definition of extrovert. I thought at one point in my life I was an extrovert, but I'm not. I see myself turning more into an introvert the older I get. And not because of insecurity, more because I don't know. I force myself not. I try to be intentional to be around people, good people.
Do you find the situation timid that you want to be, because you like what you said, that you're a perfectionist or you're OCD in that sense, so you want perfection in its essence. So do you not want to throw yourself out there with bold choices? You know?
I think
Does it scare you more the older you get? Because that's a real life thing.
Oh, absolutely.
The older you get, the more scared you are about life, about situations, about making wrong choices and shit like that.
Yeah, a little bit of that. But I constantly battle with the control of trying to look good. And when you try to look good,
you don't look good.
You don't.
It's
look
when
good.
you don't give a fuck. When you don't give a fuck that you look good.
Which is usually
when
the case.
You're predominantly you. You're just inherently you.
Right.
100%.
100%.
It's inevitable for people to like you because it's like, you know what it is? It's like when my friends when we were younger, we would go to the club, right? And one of my friends was the one that instilled this in me more than anybody else. He would be like, "But you know how we get girls? We don't look for girls. We have a good time. We're dancing on the pit,
You're in
on
the
the
moment.
dance pit, and we're just dancing, and girls just come up to you." And that worked flawlessly. Especially, I mean, it definitely helps if the girls like you.
Well,
off the front.
I've never been much of a club guy, and that's because I think.
But
no,
the essence of that
right.
story of just of just owning yourself and being not needing to seek out anything else other than yourself having a good time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you have that little voice trying to control every single move, every single word, that's when you come off awkward, right? You gotta let go. You gotta let go.
Oh, look at this creeper.
All right, or
Check, please.
or take like a little drink, do a little, a little this, a little that, kind of loosen up a little bit.
That definitely helps.
And that's when I feel a little bit more of myself, which is kind of an unfortunate thing, right? Like, why is it that you have to use substance to feel more?
But I mean, you don't. I wake up in the morning like this.
Do you?
But on that
Lucky.
note, cheers to Espolón, the finest tequila out there.
Espolón. Sponsor us, please. We're broke.
Margaritas for Father's Day.
I have notes. This is not a lot.
Let's go through it.
Let's go through it. Okay.
Oh my God, I am exhausted.
You're exhausted?
Yeah, being a dad is exhausting.
Well, that was the first question.
Oh my God.
Chris Diaz, actor, producer, voiceover artist,
Actor.
father. You're a father now. How old is James?
He's 2 months. He turned 2 months on the 15th.
Oh my God.
What's today? The 19th. So
He's so cute.
I know, man.
Right.
Little dude.
Little
You know what's so crazy? It's feeding him at like 3 a.m. when I don't want him to wake up. So I keep the lights off, and all I see are his big eyes staring at me when I have the bottle jammed in there, and he's just staring at me, and it looks just like me. It looks like a little dude, like a little Chris.
It's a crazy feeling, right?
Oh my God!
It's like,
it's so
here's
surreal.
my
It's
replica.
Like, it's like when I was your age. What was I thinking? There's so many thoughts that just go through my mind. That it's like, what's going on? Like, what's going on in your head? Are you gonna remember me or remember these moments? Are you? I don't think so because I don't remember those moments.
Yeah, you don't. But it's somewhere in the subconscious, I think. I mean, I think
Maybe
those,
a feeling.
Maybe.
The feeling.
I think-
the essence of a paternal figure feeding them, or a maternal figure like his mom feeding him. But I don't remember that.
his brain is still developing.
It's still developing.
It's still, and right now the upbringing is so important because that's when, I mean, I think we're all born with a specific type of character and personality, but obviously nurture and parenting has a lot to do with it.
Of course, environment has a big role to play there.
Yeah, I mean, I have 3 kids and all of them are different.
I know, dude. And you look younger than I do. You got 3 kids, you son of a bitch.
Well, let me tell you, I'm stopping.
Can
right
we
there.
curse on this?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, this is informal and open to anything.
Fuck.
I categorize this podcast as a comedy podcast, so
Okay.
like, we're not gonna try to be funny, but we're just gonna be open. I think life is funny overall.
I think the best comedy is when you don't push for comedy.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so.
It's a...
And you know what I've learned about storytelling is that when you confine yourself to genres, it's almost going back
It's
to
harder.
It's harder. It's harder. It's like almost going back to that conversation where we're having about where you're trying to confine yourself and trying to feel right, say the right thing. It's like just don't do it. Just tell your story.
Just tell the
do your
story,
thing.
and whatever comes out at the end of it. You know what it reminds me of? Do you remember the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
haven't
Oh
seen
my
it.
God, Jason Segel's so great. But he's got this musical about Dracula, and he for the entirety of the movie, he thought that the musical was supposed to be dramatic, and then he's like, at the end, he's like, who knew it was a comedy the whole time? And it was a hit.
Yeah.
Where at the end, it was the last scenes, and he presented it, and it was a hit as a comedy.
Wow.
As a dark comedy about Dracula.
Well, that's why he's doing like the Muppets and.
He is in the Muppets, isn't he?
He is. I actually saw him in was that show Friday Night Lights? Is it Friday Night?
Friday Night Lights is the football one.
Is it the football one? Okay, what's the other one of the high schoolers?
The high schoolers?
That has James Franco in it. Like a young James Franco and
Freaks.
Freaks and Geeks. Freaks and Geeks. Yeah.
Yeah, with
Freaks and
Seth
Geeks.
Rogen.
Yeah, Seth Rogen. And
Yeah. That was their breakout. Their breakout into
they're so young.
They were young.
So young.
I saw Seth Rogen's audition for that, and he talks about like weed and shit like that, and it was funny. It was funny. You can see him at so young before he had that big beard and that gargle laugh.
Yeah. What makes Seth Rogen Seth Rogen? It's so interesting because when we look at those things, we're seeing it with different eyes, right? Your average person sees those videos of like,
Well, people that are not in the industry,
Not in the
because
industry.
we're average, but everybody. I don't know. I don't know how to classify that. But yes, to your point, yeah. But somebody that's not in the acting industry will see it with different eyes, right?
Right.
Because they don't dissect scene by scene or a character who they are as actors and what they bring to the role and how close they are to the character they're playing.
Right.
Right.
I mean, for us, just to put it in layman terms, the way when I see those type of videos, I see, well, if they did it and they did it that way, I can do it. You know.
Yeah, I think
Like,
they were just themselves.
Just
And they
themselves.
just brought realism to the characters they played. And especially at the beginning. What has always been instilled in us? You're yourself, right? And then you can create.
Yeah.
But be the most real you. And that's the most unique part of you as an actor that you can bring to a role. And then after that, once you're more established, you could start making some bold choices and working on either side of that spectrum that is your range for characters.
Yeah.
Which is cool. That you can start playing like antagonists and creating a character that's way out of your rhythm and in your body. And that's cool. But what we were ingrained in as far as actors at the beginning is to just, use yourself, bring yourself to the role for believability.
Right. So you were trained as an actor. I wasn't.
Well, you did workshops.
I did workshops. I was trying to do the work, right? I wasn't planning to go back to like drama school. I just finished.
Open up for the camera, you son of a bitch.
Number one rule for commercial auditioning and film: always open up to the camera.
You always open up.
Yeah.
Just only because there's only one set camera on stage.
Exactly.
That's the only reason why.
I'm so used to having so many cameras around.
Exactly.
Man.
Usually we have 2 cameras
Right,
at least.
but this is not the case. Go watch the Michael Caine
Acting for film.
acting for film. Such a great.
Did I tell you that, or did you?
No,
you
I've seen it before. I got his book. Great book. I need to go
book is
back.
great.
I need to go back to it.
You could search it on YouTube.
Right.
And it's
watch the video. That's pretty much
that's
all
awesome.
you need.
That's
awesome. That's all
the
you
tips
need.
and tricks that he instills in those actors that are taking the workshop are so great. I always take that into account.
Yeah.
And now it's more subconscious. Now it's all embedded in my body. But
Absolutely.
but
I learned from someone I think Robert Nero, when he was young, he will add like a fake camera or like a dot or something around his kitchen. So every time he's washing dishes, he's turning to that specific dot.
That's cool.
So that was like pretty cool, subconscious training there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
See, that is cool. I think when I'm out in public, I feel people looking.
Okay.
And then I'm like, I'm not gonna look. I'm just gonna play my I'm doing what I'm doing, and it does help when I'm on set because it's the same concept. The camera is just staring at you like people are staring at you in real life.
Right.
So I think that I impose that.
Well, that's the thing with film. Film is the whole experience for the audience is that at the end of the day, they're just observing.
They're observing.
And the way that David Mamet...
But you're creating a world.
You're definitely creating...
You're in a world.
You have to do your homework as an actor.
Yeah.
The film is such a... it's a collaborative effort, right? Everyone is doing their part. You have the production designer, you have the cinematographer, like so many moving parts. It takes a team.
It takes a village.
Right. And everyone has to believe in what they're doing. But at the end of the day, and I really like how David Mamet puts it, at the end of the day...
Mamet's good.
Mamet's great. Some people like him, some people don't. But I think...
why? Because he's gritty, he's he's rough around the edges.
I think so.
He's blunt.
I mean, I really haven't observed or read a lot of his work. Still recently, I started watching his films. But But
We did a lot of his plays at New World.
which one did you do?
At New World, I can't remember for the life of me.
American Buffalo.
We did. I did read American Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many of them. New World was a blur for me, by the way.
Not sponsored by New World.
Not sponsored by New World.
I once tried to audition for New World, but not for acting. This is when I was a lot younger.
Well, for art,
For music.
they have a great opera. They have a great opera school.
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going for opera. I was going for percussion. So
Right.
this is when I just finished.
But you went for the high school.
No, this is for college.
the college?
For the college. I really was determined to do music. I actually went to Miami-Dade College.
They're so nitpicky.
Well, I never ended up doing it, because I was always afraid of auditioning. And I knew that I always, now we're fast forwarding a couple of years, I always wanted to be an actor. But one of the things that really held me back was that feeling of auditioning. And like, if you want to get a job in acting, you have to audition and be in front of people. And
That's integral.
yeah,
It's integral.
absolutely.
And you weren't ready to do that yet.
I don't think I was ready. I don't think I had the mindset. I mean, for when I auditioned for New World, I wasn't auditioning for acting, but it was an audition, right? So I had to learn several rudiments and musical pieces.
What,
and
like
stuff.
16 bars or something? Or
I don't even remember. It was something for like on the snare or whatever. I guess I was auditioning for the orchestra or the symphony. I don't know what I was auditioning for. I can't remember. But yeah, that made me nervous. The thought of it made me nervous, and I'm a nervous guy. So you see me when I'm like nervous and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
you've grown. You know how to send your energy waves to its extremities, and that's the most important part.
I think I've learned not to care anymore.
Well, that definitely helps. That factor definitely helps, because whether you get it or not, and and the fact that we do 30, 40 auditions a month, and we book maybe 1 to 3 auditions a month.
Or our career is a career. I've always said it. Our career is a career of rejection. It's kind of like the real estate guy, right? It's like you're going to be showcasing homes, but not everyone is a potential buyer.
Exactly.
It's like that's just the world that
And
we
it's
live
not that
in.
you're solid. It's the fact that you're not what they're envisioning for the project per se. At the beginning, for sure. At the beginning, I got so many rejections until I started getting callbacks. I got lucky. As soon as I started getting callbacks, I started booking work. But I think it was a confidence level, a confidence factor.
Yeah.
And that definitely helps. But when you believe that, people believe it in you.
Right.
And that's always been the case for me. And that's why I think I've stuck it out as long as I have. Because if I would have gotten detrimental feedback, like bad feedback from the beginning, I don't know if I would be doing this right now.
Yeah.
Even though it's still hard, I've got hard months, ahead of me and behind me.
Yeah.
As well as successful months and years behind me and hopefully ahead of me.
Well, you're getting older. You and I were getting older, and now the parts that we're auditioning for are different.
They are different.
Right.
Dude, they're sending me roles for 40-year-olds. and I don't think it's because they gray my hair up at ATL Homicide.
Well, can we stop there and let's talk about a little bit of what you have done? I've seen pictures of you modeling. You had like a sick, ripped body.
That was before.
Like
that was
an
at 26.
An 8-pack. Not so long ago.
That was at 26. That was 4 years ago. 5 years ago.
You're ripped.
I was.
There's a lot of films that I've seen where you're like super thin, super young looking. How's that?
It was hard. That was difficult because of the regiment that you have to take into account. You don't sleep late. You wake up. You get your good night's rest. You're on a crazy diet, which sucks. Yeah. That sucks, and especially when you dealt with like life and death situations where you see how short your life is. You just want to enjoy life. I think I found more than most now. I'm like, man, life is so short. I just want to enjoy myself. So I'm not so much into that. But yeah, I was die hard back then. It was so bad. It's so bad where I remember my friends making fried Oreos and I'm dying. I want a piece, especially with the air, that aromatic Oreo smell.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have one taste of it. And I'm doing ab workouts in bed, watching TV on the way to sleep. and waking up early and hitting the gym 2 times a day. And it's something that's not fun. It's very rigorous. But it's worth it if you want to play certain characters. And I think my body fluctuates depending on the role and depending on the contract that they give me. That they give me a chance to, the characters they give me a chance to play.
Right.
Which is cool.
Well,
So I'll do it again.
You'll do it again. It's a little bit harder now.
It's a little, nothing a little, boost you can't help with.
What I'm looking at, like, who inspires me? I look at people like Mark Wahlberg, The Rock.
Mark Wahlberg just gained like 40, 50 pounds for this upcoming role that he has. If you see pictures, he's fat. It's all stomach.
Oh wow!
It's all stomach weight. He had to drop. And I saw Wall Street, WAHL Street, and it's his documentary where he has all these different ventures that he's a part of, and it's like a documentary following his life. And
like Wall as in Wahlberg.
Like Mark Wahlberg. And this guy is not drinking for 146 days, hasn't been drinking for 200 days, and then all of a sudden he's got to gain all this weight out of nowhere. And it's detrimental to your body at some point. I remember recently watching a Christian Bale interview where he's like, I don't think I'm not going to be doing that in the future. Yeah. Just fluctuating your weight.
That takes a toll on your body.
It definitely takes a toll on your body. The doctors, I think, have told him, you need to cut it out, Chris.
I mean, you can play with it when you're younger, but once you hit your 40s.
How old are they? They're like 40-something.
I think they're close to their 50s already.
They're close to their 50s.
Because we're close to our 40s.
Fuck that.
Yeah,
I just turned 32. You look 29, but your ass is like 35.
I just turned 35 this weekend. Yeah.
Big happy birthday to Mr. Sway Molina.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. It's crazy. So we're growing older. We're getting more confident. We're accepting who we are. Flaws. It is what it is. There's some flaws that you can fix. There's other flaws that you just have to accept.
Always.
How does it feel now that you're a father? I know we talked about this a little bit, but
as far as what aspect?
You just had a baby. Your baby's like 2 months.
It's so surreal.
Yeah.
It's very surreal. It's a very surreal feeling. I've had to play characters where they've had kids, and I've never known. Because I believe in realism. So as an actor, so I have to believe the things I say for me to believe that the audience is going to believe what I'm saying.
Right.
So it was hard to even do auditions where I have a son and stuff like that, and bring that on the script. And now saying, hey, "How you doing, bud? This is my son. I'm Dad." I look at him, I'm like, your name is James. I'm Dad. And it's still so surreal. Yeah. It's such a weird feeling.
What is crazy about what you said is that for acting, you believe in realism, but now that it's real, it's surreal.
It's very surreal. It's so surreal that
it's more real than the...
It's more real. It's more real
ironic,
than when you try to make it real.
So is that what qualifies it for it to be like surreal?
I don't know.
It's more real than real?
More real than real. That's so crazy to me. That idea is so crazy to me because you have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
You don't.
Until it happens and it's just there. And I think that goes the same way for when we get a big contract, Yeah. We get a big contract and you want to believe that you're going to get the role, that you're the best fit for the role and things like that. And not until you get the contract for $50,000 for a 12 episode shoot or whatever it is, and then you're like, is this real? Is this real?
It's pretty surreal.
It's real. So now you just have to do the homework, and that's what I've been doing. Is reading all the books. I mean, I tried to read what to expect when you're expecting. I have it on my nightstand still. So I've read chapters. I was able to get away with a few chapters at the beginning, second trimester. First trimester, I wasn't around. I had to go film in Tennessee. Right. I found out my wife was pregnant with my baby.
You had to confirm that.
Yeah, that baby was just like me, right? So no phone tap. 5 days after I flew out to go film the last 10 episodes of ATL Homicide in Tennessee. And because we were going through the pandemic, I couldn't fly back and forth. So we were confined to this bubble. So I had to stay in Tennessee for 2 months from I think, late July to beginning September. And it was rough.
Yeah.
And maybe the best thing that could have happened, because she was not feeling well the first trimester. I bet she didn't want to see me. She was so angry at the whole situation. And this was something that we tried for. Like, we were trying to have a baby, so it wasn't an accident.
So you were telling me you're not like me. My first one was an accident.
Was an accident?
But I love you, Zoe.
Zoe?
She's 8 years old now, so that's in the past.
And that's life. And maybe it was an accident, but it was an act of God.
But who are we fooling? When you have sex, what do you expect, right? Like, oh, it was an accident. Like, yeah, but you're kind of doing the thing that caused babies.
Unless you're the pull-out king.
Right. I was, but I was dethroned.
You dethroned yourself.
I dethroned myself, right.
But yeah.
So the Creative Papi community, I am hosting conversations on mental health, physical health, emotional health, and there's also a category just to chat and to talk about how cool women are. And I see your wife. Your wife is such a cool woman, right?
She is awesome.
You know, and right now we were having a conversation. It's just crazy how it changes, right? A woman after having a child. I wouldn't say every single woman, but for the most part, I think once a woman has a child, it changes them. It changes their focus. You know, and
she's more maternal.
Very
instinctively
much more maternal.
Turned more maternal.
Right.
And that happened, I think, at 8 months of her being pregnant. She started to be taking more care, being more maternal. Be like, wait, you check your temperature, check your blood pressure.
Right. I mean, and these are things that we witness, we see. When we bring it up, we have women that go crazy. No, it's not true. But you kind of have to experience it, right? We're kind of in the background, just seeing what happens, right? We've heard about it. We see people talk about it, but you're witnessing it firsthand, how her career choices are changing.
Oh, she just wants to spend the whole day with the baby.
It's insane, right?
I know.
It's insane.
It is.
I mean, and us too.
And we don't get enough. They don't get enough chance, especially down here, for maternity leave.
Yeah.
They're not getting enough opportunity. There's countries that give them 6 months after birth of the baby, 6 months maternity leave. She's got like 6 weeks, and then she's using her paid time off.
Wow.
To stay with the baby for the full term that they allow for you to be out of work, but without pay.
Yeah, I think my wife kind of did the same thing. She was she was on something called like disability time off or whatever.
Well, she got some disability, but that ended in May.
Wow.
May.
Yeah, I mean, some countries have more, and
some countries have 9 months, and they have
paternity
leave,
which will be nice.
We are not getting that.
But how that works? You get paid by the same company, or the company that you work for pays you for taking.
I'm an independent contractor. I'm never gonna get that.
Well, we're never gonna. We're let's just say we're constantly in paternity leave,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
The life of an actor, of a filmmaker, that's how it is. You just never know where your work is going to come from.
No.
You know.
Exactly.
Luckily for us, we're growing, we're getting better, and now the work that we auditioned for, the pay is great.
It is much better.
It's much better, but it's still challenging.
Well, we're getting the opportunity to play bigger roles.
Right.
No.
So what is it that you do to get better? We were talking about that. How do you get better as an actor? You don't go back to school, do you? Well,
essentially, you're in school your whole life.
Right.
Right? So you do workshops. I still pay for master class. It's like $180 for a full year, and you get the opportunity to take as many master classes as they have. So I do all the master classes. I just did one for voice acting from I forgot this actress's name, and I apologize. She's the voice of Bart Simpson.
Oh, okay.
McIntyre, I forgot, and I apologize. Mm-hmm. But she also plays Chucky, and she's played so many cartoons. So I just did that master class. I do a lot of YouTube videos. I do a lot of work on the internet, just playing with different characters. I'll pick up scripts, and I'll dissect them myself. Especially now that I'm teaching a voiceover and dubbing class for kids and teens at this acting academy called Take One Actors Academy. which is good. So it helps you. It's so crazy how much you can learn by being a teacher.
Yeah.
And teaching.
Absolutely.
So that helps. At the end of the day, every day I wake up with this cork in my hand. I do stretches, body stretches. I do vocal warm-ups. I put a subtitles, and now I'm watching House of Cards because they have it's a lot of political issues, a lot of big words. So I use that to over enunciate and work on my pronunciation and my diction. And then I try to bring realism when I'm delivering the speeches that these characters are going through. And I follow the characters.
So let me stop you there. Because of you, I have a cork now right next to my computer. I'm in front of my computer every day. I'm not going to say that I use a cork all the time, but when I do need to do like a quick warm-up, I use a cork. And now I'm using
It's
that.
beneficial.
It is beneficial. So you get to enunciate, but I need a cork now.
You need a cork now.
Can I use your cork?
Don't touch my cork.
Right. So a cork is not something that you share. It's something that you give. And hopefully it's clean.
I gave it as a gift. Yeah, you never brought it.
And I never brought it back. And I'm not going to bring it back. You don't want my germs.
It's my germs. No, that's good.
You good on time?
No, my wife just finished a workout, and she earned an award on iWatch.
So you get a notification for that.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Oh, I know she's working.
Yeah. You gotta, are you tracking her? Is that
no? She wants to compete with me all the time.
Ooh.
Saying, "How the hell do you have more calories burned than I do today?
So
you were
funny.
sitting on your ass."
So funny. So what is it? Is it that you're So what is it that you're using? What app is that you're using to?
It's
to
iWatch.
connect?
It's the iWatch, and then you can connect with anybody.
Yeah.
You can connect with anybody, and then it actually puts you to challenge yourself against these people.
That's great. And what are you doing to work out?
I mean, you've seen I have a 24-hour gym, so I'm doing HIIT training.
Good.
So I'll start with the elliptical, and I'll do that HIIT training where I'll do 3 minutes on at a certain speed, then 2 minutes light, 3 minutes on, 2 minutes light, and then I'll go, once I hit the 10-minute moment peak, I go 30 seconds as fast as I can with a minute at a slow rate until I get to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'll hit weights. And then if I can, at the end of the day, I'll just hit the punching bag. But I need to drop weight fast. I'm trying to be more accessible.
Yeah. Sounds intense.
It is intense. Especially when I haven't worked out like this in a while.
Well, I'm trying to get back.
The baby will do that to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially pregnancy with your spouse. And with the pandemic, we've just been, imagine, and she's got these cravings, so we'll eat sweets all night.
You cave in. We cave in.
I did cave in yesterday. She's like, "Do you want the chocolate-covered almonds?" And I'm like, "No. What if I eat the chocolate out of it? There's still almonds."
Is that how your your wife sounds?
No. I used to do it. I used to mess around with it. What are you talking about? I don't even fucking sound like that. Yeah, I don't sound like that. She'd get so mad at me.
Well, that's probably how she really sounds to you.
No, she does not. I just don't have the register to hit that voice.
Parenting is such a funny thing because here you are with your newborn, and everyone wants to school you on how to like raise a child.
So many people, everybody,
and you're kind of fighting this ego thing. I'm like, I got this.
Yeah, I'm not to bitch at my parents because they want to give me some tips and tricks. I'm gonna listen.
Like I raised you and you turned out fine. Like, did I turn out fine?
Okay? Maybe he could turn out better. Who knows?
Right.
But yeah, that's definitely a factor. So many people want to give their 2 cents.
Yeah,
and it's so crazy because between me and Lauren, a lot of our friends have had kids already. So a lot of people give their 2 cents.
Right.
Which is not always. It's also how you approach it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not hovering over you, telling you this is what you need to do. You're doing it wrong. I don't think that's the right way. It's all about tact.
Exactly.
It's like I would approach it as. This is what I did with this guy, and this guy learned how to do this in a heartbeat just because I did it like that.
Right.
That's how I would approach it.
Well, we did the whole the burping thing on the side.
I use it, and I use the burping method that you showed me. on the left side, you just rub.
Yeah,
you just rub the left side of his body.
Sometimes it doesn't, but for the most part.
It's not every time, but it works. And I and that's one method that I use to burp him after he's eaten.
Right. But I think it's within our nature just share information and give our 2 cents. I mean, we're giving our 2 cents right now in this podcast, so it's just
Is this thing on?
Is it?
Is this thing on?
It's on. So, as an actor, you do a lot of voiceover. You're currently working with a studio called The Kitchen.
That's one of them. I'm working at 4, but yeah, The Kitchen I've been working
4.
at for 10 years in April.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. You're such a talented human being.
Come on, man.
I auditioned once for The Kitchen and they never called me back.
You're going to audition again. Stop.
Well, hopefully this serves me as an audition. This morning I wrote a script, such a silly script. Don't judge me for it. I'm giving the script now to Chris, and what I want you to do is, you're one character, you're little Chris, right? These are high schoolers. And
He's not so little. What grade is he in?
Let's say 9th grade. And,
okay, so he's a little high schooler.
Right, he's a little high schooler. And let's say I'm like an 11th grader, 12th grader called Suelo, the high school bully. I'm going to read the action real quick, and then we'll get into the dialogue. Little Chris, which is you, is whistling to music as he sits alone. He looks outside the window, bird watching by cupping his hands as a telescope. He's in the back of the bus, minding your own business. You're in a school bus.
I can't whistle for the life of me.
Don't worry, we'll get a stand.
When I'm recording and one of the characters is whistling, usually the sound engineer just comes in. He's like, "I got the whistle, bro. Don't worry."
But that's probably like for their time to shine. Like they're excited to do that.
Whistle.
I've been working on this for 10 years.
They make a solid $1.33 on that whistle. That shit is good.
So, going back to the action, here comes Suelo, the high school bully, me, marching towards little Chris, you. Hey, loser, trying to spot flamingos?
Leave me alone, Suelo.
What if I don't want to?
You're such a jerk, man.
Did you just call me a jerk, you bullfinch?
Bullfinch?
What's the problem? Sparrow got your tongue? Ha! Dumb blackbird.
Suelo, I didn't know you were into birds too.
Shut your little stupid thrush head, you cold-tilt mother-loving barn swallow.
You really know your small birds.
Hairy woodpecker.
Morning dove.
Chickadee.
You red-winged blackbird.
Cardinal.
You brown-headed cowbird, crossbreed with hermit thrush. That turns out you don't have a father because your cowbird mom slept with your ruby-throated hummingbird.
So
Wait, no. Listen. I'm sorry, Suelo. You can sit with me to birdwatch if you like.
Yeah, I like that. And scene. I don't know what I was thinking this morning, but
This is definitely an animation because no high school kids sound like this.
No, absolutely not.
You're a bitch, kid.
So I was trying to offend you with all my bird knowledge. So the subtext here is that the high school bully actually admires you and wanted to impress you with all this bird names. You know, so I don't know if the audience caught that, but yeah, I was looking at a lot of bird names this morning.
What are all those words?
Like blackbird, coat tilt, hairy woodpecker. These are actual names.
Blackbird is, I know because of the Beatles. I love Blackbird. That's a great song.
One of the things that I want to highlight is your memorization is so solid. It's one of the things that I struggle with wanting to be an actor.
No, you are an actor. You've worked on commercials. You've worked on shows. You're an actor.
I'm an actor. I just feel that, I mean, everyone, I think everyone, if you're working on a trade, you're working on the craft, you know, by default, you have to work hard, right? I just feel that I have to work harder, knowing my limitations. But once I get there, once I learn the lines, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm free to use my strengths and to play.
To use your toolbox of what you know and what you can play and the choices that you can make based off what you know about your character and everything that you have in your arsenal.
Right. Yeah, I'm very instinctual.
Which is great. That's great.
My thing is, I love physicality. I love comedy. I love playing with different ranges and characterizations, and I love exploring character. But that doesn't help with memorization.
Real quick before we get on, Harrison Ford, I just saw an interview with him the other day, and he was talking about how the first time you read a script, the first time he reads a script, those choices that he makes for the character that he's going to be playing are so integral because they're the first time that he's seeing, that he's thinking about these choices. Because after you're working a script hundreds of times, or as many times as you review the script and your dialogue, it changes.
Absolutely.
You know, it changes. But the first time is so natural. It's something that's coming from your body. It's something that you're bringing to the table. That's so beautiful. That's such a strong thing to think about.
Well, nothing beats, like doing something for the first time.
Yeah, improvisation plays a huge role with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you're doing improv, you can never go back to that. You can't replicate that. And if you try, it's not going to be the same.
You try, but there's different beats, and especially when you're working on an improv with somebody else, that's different because the person is going to deliver their lines way different every single time.
Right.
Not way different. Sometimes they try to get back, but especially when we have to cover a scene from different angles, you try to hit specific moments and beats.
Right.
So you have to, as an actor, you have to keep that in mind. But as far as memorization, I try to paint a picture, and that's what helps me memorize. So in my head, I paint a picture. And that's how I memorize. Like I look at the words, and the words, every single word means something specific to me.
Yeah.
So it definitely plays a huge role in how I memorize things.
Well, acting for me is, I've learned, I think I could paint a picture, but for me is, I've learned this. Your brain is capable of doing
You gotta trust.
You trust your brain.
You gotta trust.
Trust it. It's very powerful. So I've learned things, and I've learned to let go. And when I let go and just be in the moment,
when it comes to you.
It's when it comes to you, and you'll surprise yourself.
Yeah.
Like the thing is with acting is that everyone's acting is different. Everyone has different methods and different ways to go about it. But what I've learned is that when you let go and you try to control less, that's when the magic really happens. You're being in the moment. Being in the moment.
Of course.
And
but that's why you memorize everything and you do your homework so that when you're on set, you let everything go and you are just a character listening, living in this bubble, in this world.
Right.
And that's the most beautiful moment. It's hard. It's hard to create the world. That's why you have to treat the camera like if it's just somebody watching you. And that's why I go back to what I was saying, how I like when I feel like people are watching me, even if they're not. I feel like people are watching me when I'm eating at a restaurant or doing different things in public, and I just go about my day. Like I just continue doing it. But I feel like I'm acting.
Right.
And acting is realism at the end of the day. It's just living in your skin, to me.
Yeah.
So especially, and it gets grittier once you create a character like that antagonist that I played in The Deep, the Maple Grove story. That's it's like this gory voice, and it's like Charles Manson mixed with Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs, and that's different. You're reacting. So I mean, my process is living in that character for a little bit. Lauren thought, my wife Lauren thought that I was crazy because I would deliver lines to her in that character's voice. And I was a creeper. It was so
Absolutely.
scary to her. She was freaked out. She's like, okay, stop. Fucking stop.
Well, that's when you know you're doing a good job. Like, if you can freak your wife out,
I know.
like you're on the right path. And I do that all the time. And my wife gets freaked out when I...
Because your wife's not an actress.
She's not. No,
she's not an actor.
No, she's a creative person, but she works in HR. And man, she's just a
You got to be creative when you're in HR.
Definitely, yes. You are. I think everyone has the ability to be a creative person.
For sure.
But yeah, she's very supportive. Your wife is very supportive. And she's very supportive of friends like me. And she's just supportive of this podcast. And shout out to Lauren. You're such a great mother.
The Creative Papi.
The Creative
Sponsored by
Papi.
Lauren Jordan.
You can send me the check, Lauren. Okay, so to end the podcast, I want you to do two things.
Come on.
Define, in your own words, define fatherhood.
Define fatherhood?
Yeah, define fatherhood. It could be words. It could be
Guidance would be a great one. Instilling values that I believe in that I wasn't necessarily taught. Instilling things in him that I would have wanted instilled in myself. But happiness, love. I think if anything, a 4-letter word would be love. Because that's the biggest thing. As long as you show love, this kid is smiling at 3 o'clock in the morning when he's hungry as hell. I'm like, what are you doing up? What are you doing up? He's like, and he just starts laughing. And just showing love. I think energy goes through across the board. So I think that's the biggest thing, love.
You made it all the way through. Thank you for listening to the Creative Papi podcast. Give it a good review on Apple Podcasts and a thumbs up on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Hope you like it. Find Chris Diaz at Instagram.com at Mr. Chris Diaz. That is Mr. Chris Diaz. You can also find me at Sway Molina. Visit my website, swaymolina.com, for the links to the Creative Papi community and all my social platforms. swaymolina.com/links. Thanks again for tuning in. See you on the next episode. Bye.